morning, my dear Akshans. I think you are ready for the today's session of Class 9 Improvement in Food Resources, Chapter 15. What are the learning outcomes we are going to attain in this session? We are going to learn about various irrigation methods, methods to save water, cropping system, and crop protection technique. So what is irrigation? You all know this already. That is, watering of crops is called irrigation. So previously, India is dependent on timely monsoon and sufficient rainfall. So we all know the timely monsoon is not happening nowadays. So it is necessary to save water. Irrigation should be done at the right stage during the growing season to increase the yield of crop. So we have to develop the irrigation facilities. So what are the facilities? Let us see. There are different kinds of irrigation system what we are going to learn from this chapter. They are rivers, canals, wells and tanks. So these are all the different kinds of irrigation system we are going to read today. So first one is about wells. We take wells. Wells is of two types. One is called dug well, other one is called tube well. From the dug well, the water is collected from the water bearing strata. Strata means layer. So from the layer, a dug well, we are taking the water through a bucket or using a pulley. That is called dug well. Most of the farms we can see this dug well. Other one is tube well, where we draw water using tubes. The water is lifted from the underground. We take the water and utilize it for the fields. So this tube wells has to be constructed in an area where there is no salinity, so that we will get fresh water for the crops. So there are two types of well. One is called dug well, the other one is called tube well. So here you can see the picture of a dug well and a tube well. So there is a motor which is connected to the tube well to draw the water. Here you can see the image of the dug well. Water is collected from the water bearing strata. So tube wells can tap the water from the deeper strata. From these wells, water is lifted by pumps for irrigation. The next system is canal system. So in this system, we will receive water from one or more reservoir or from rivers. So main canal will bring the water from the river and it divides into many branches and it will take the water to the fields for irrigation. Next one is river lift system. So from this heading we can see the word lift. So water is being lifted from the river to irrigate the fields. So this is a picture which shows about the different methodologies which are used to take the water from the river or reservoir to different areas. Next is tanks. Tanks are small storage reservoirs which will stop the run of water and it is used to collect the water for future use. In most of the farms we can see these tanks. So this is mainly used for irrigation purpose. Other initiatives if we see, you know about rainwater harvesting, watershed management and construction of check dams. So rainwater harvesting, if we say that rainwater harvesting, only at home we make many rainwater harvesting structures. Only those things come to our mind. But for the fields, there are different rainwater harvesting structure. So one of the structure you are seeing in this image where ridges and furrows are made, water is made to stagnate in that depression. Then easily the water may percolate into the ground and the water will get stored in the ground. So it will enhance the groundwater level. So this is a sort of rainwater harvesting what we follow in the farm. Now let us see the different cropping patterns. The first one is mixed cropping. So what is mixed cropping? Growing two or more crops simultaneously on the same piece of land is called mixed cropping. So I have given the crop combinations here: wheat and gram crop, wheat crop and mustard crop, groundnut crop and sunflower crop. So these will mutually help each other, and it reduces the risk, and it also reduces the crop failure. So there are some criteria for the selection of crops for mixed cropping. So these are the criteria. First one is duration of a crop. So the time period from sowing till harvesting, one crop should take less time, the other crop should take a long time. So there should be difference between one crop from the other. Second one is growing habit. One crop should grow tall, the other crop should be a short crop, so that it will be easy during the harvesting season or applying fertilizers or pesticides. It will be easy to carry out those practices. The next criteria is canopy. Canopy means the structure of leaves, stem and flowers which is found above the ground. We call it as canopy. So one, if it is a shrub, it may be a herb, the other one. So like that, there should be difference in the canopy of the plant. Next is about nutrient demand. One crop should take less nutrients, the other crop should take more amount of nutrients, or a crop should be selected where the same nutrient requirement should not be taken by both. Next is root pattern. One crop should have a deep root, the other one should be selected in such a way that it will utilize the nutrients from the topsoil, that is shallow rooted. Next is water requirements. One crop may require more amount of water, the other crop should require less amount of water. Next type is called intercropping. Here it is called row pattern cropping. So row wise cropping is done in this type of cropping. A few rows of one crop alternate with a few rows of second crop. So two important combinations, that is soya bean and maize, or finger millet and cowpea. In this picture, we can see the difference of the root. The first picture shows the fibrous root. The next one is cowpea, where it shows the root nodules. So this root is a taproot which has many root nodules. Root nodules has this nitrogen fixing bacteria which is called rhizobium. Now here we can see maize crop and soya beans. Maize crop is the tall crops and short crops are soya beans. So soya beans has the root nodules which absorbs the nitrogen, and it also helps in the growth of maize crop. So ensures maximum utilization of nutrients, and it will help the crops to prevent itself from pests and diseases which is also spreading to other plants, and both the crops will give a very good yield. Next one is called crop rotation. Growing of different crops in a same piece of land in a pre-planned succession, that is one after the other. We sow the crops, so it is called as crop rotation in different combination. The availability of moisture and irrigation facility will decide the choice of the crop. Next is, if crop rotation is done properly, automatically the output, the harvest will be very good harvest. The final outcome, the final learning outcome is crop protection management. So from what we have to protect these crops from? So there are three dangers for the crop. One is called weeds, pests and disease. So what are weeds? Weeds are unwanted plants which are growing along with the crop. We call it as weeds. One important crop is xanthium. The second one is parthenium. The next one is called Cypernicus rotundus. So they compete for food, space and light. Not only these, it will take up the nutrients without allowing the crops to take up. So they compete for all these factors. So it is necessary to remove the weeds. Next about the pest. So the pest is of actually different types. The pest types are called cutters, borers and suckers. So cutters are grasshoppers, caterpillars, locusts. So these are called cutters. They cut the root, stem and leaf and damage the crop. The next is cell sap. It sucks the cell sap from the various part of the plant. There is aphids, leafhoppers, thrips, whitefly, beetles, mites. The next variety is called borers. So they bore into the stem and fruits. They will eat the inner content of the stem or fruits. A bole fruit or a bole stem will be left out. So this is called borers. Next, disease are caused by microorganism called pathogens. So mode of transmission, how it is transmitted? It is through soil, water and air. So weeds, how do we control these weeds? These can be controlled by mechanical removal, and some of the preventive methods of weeds are proper seed bed preparation, timely sowing of crops, intercropping and crop rotation. These factors help in this weed control methods. How can we prevent this pest? So first one, we can use the resistant varieties, that is disease resistant varieties can be used so that the crop protection will be more effective. Next is summer ploughing, that is ploughing the fallow land during the summer in depth. This may remove the weeds or the seeds which are found underneath. So these are some of the methods. Next is about storage of grains. Storage of grains, both the biotic and abiotic factors may disturb the storage of grains. For example, biotic factors like insects, rodents, fungi, mites and bacteria. Abiotic factors are moisture and temperature. So how it will affect? First, it will degrade the quality of seeds. Next is loss in weight will be there, poor germinability, discoloration of the produce. Automatically the market rate also will go down because of the effect of the pest on the grains. So how can we prevent these damages? So strict cleaning of the produce. The next one, we have to properly dry the output, the grains. First we have to dry it under sunlight, then under on shade, then fumigation can be used. So what is fumigation? Fumigation is through the gaseous chemical, the pest can be eradicated. So two important fumigants are methyl bromide and magnesium phosphide. So with this, I will complete this session. Let us see about animal husbandry in the next session. Thank you, my dear Akshans.